Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with CEO and founder of LOCH Technologies, Garry Drummond. He oversees a company that is a global leader in wireless airspace defense. In 2014, he bootstrapped the company from his garage into a cybersecurity powerhouse, now serving government, healthcare, transportation, and enterprise sectors worldwide. With over 25 years of entrepreneurial experience, Garry is a self-taught expert in wireless risk management and the inventor on 29 patents securing wireless and LOT environments. His pioneering work has earned his company recognition as a Gartner Cool Vendor, an Inc. 5000 company, and a recipient of multiple Silicon Valley Innovation Awards. Amongst quite a bit, we get into his latest best-selling book, The Entrepreneur's Journey from Passion to Project. Enjoy this conversation.
But nice to meet you, and happy to answer any questions that you may have,
Yeah, no, it's great to meet you, Garry. Where are you located?
So we are based in Emeryville, California. So we're on the, I like to call it the cheap seats in San Francisco. So I'm on the other side of the bay, not in San Francisco, on the Oakland side.
Okay. Well, I'm in the middle of America in Kansas City. It's wonderful to meet you, and I'm looking forward to getting into your book and your work. And I want to begin with one of the things that changed our course and direction so much was living through the pandemic. 6 years ago, it started. How did you get through that pandemic era, and how has it affected the way that you do things today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, you know, reflection on the pandemic made me, I think, have a deeper awareness for my health, both physically and kind of mentally, right? And of course, surviving, COVID was allowed me to kind of think about what was really important to me and being able to kind of get the life's balances in place. As you know, a lot of sales go to market was face to face. And when the COVID kind of struck, people were doing things virtually, and therefore you had to kind of retool on how you would really communicate your value proposition. But we were really still a small startup company, still growing, still looking for a kind of product market fit or go to market fit. But to be honest with you, what that allowed us to do was really double down on really honing in on our capabilities, and I think I wrote probably the best part of 10 patents in those couple of years, and of course today LOCH has over 30 global patents awarded. But during that time period, it was obviously difficult to just based on the fact that people were obviously affected by this and dying and losing their lives from it. But from a business perspective, it allowed me to appreciate family, health, and allowed me to kind of retool on what was important. And during that period, for me and my team, small team, we kind of looked at our capabilities and started to file patents pretty rigorously during that period, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. So I want to get a good handle on what you do on a daily basis as an author, a CEO, a founder. I want to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day, and one of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you explain it?
Okay. Yes. So I have been involved in cybersecurity for over 30 years, and I found my passion in and around wireless technologies. And if you think about it, right, wireless seems to be at the forefront of a lot of innovation. And in fact, there's never been a better exciting time to be involved in wireless because everything seems to be connected to someone or something these days. So even young kids, right, their watches are connected to the internet. Their phones are connected to the internet, laptops. Everybody seems to be connected via wireless, and of course that comes with a lot of risks and threats associated with those capabilities and those connectivity capabilities. So what I try and encourage, people that are young and interested in tech to look at the whole aspects of just networking, security, all that at a high level. And wireless is just one of those areas that just seems to be an area of specialty. And so what we do at Lock is we specialize obviously in wireless security, and and that trickles down to not just securing cell phones and things like that, but also even in the home, right? People don't really realize that televisions are now connected via wirelessly. Their thermostats, their fridge, their appliances in the home are all connected wirelessly, and that gives a new meaning to understanding the risks and threats associated with wireless and what are they doing, where are they talking to. And I'm not too sure if you realize this, but even televisions that are turned off, if compromised, could be still in listening mode. So I like to, explain to people that are getting into this field of cybersecurity that, wireless is an area of interest because it goes unmonitored, it goes unnoticed until it gets compromised.
So when you were that age, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream job?
When I was younger, to be honest with you, I always wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted to be my own CEO. I always wanted to kind of skip to my own tune, so to speak. And therefore, I've had a number of businesses along the way has obviously had an impact on me in terms of mistakes. So obviously you learn from these mistakes. But I've always wanted to be in high tech. I've always wanted to be on the leading edge of technology. And in fact, when I got to the United States, as you can tell from the accent, originally from Scotland, when I got here in 1998, I was traveling as a sales guy for another high tech company at the time. But when the first airplane hit the towers, I was in Cincinnati at a meeting at the time, and when that meeting was quickly cancelled and we were ushered out of the building, and I won't mention names and things like that, who I was visiting at the time, but when I actually saw a lot of the strangers coming together, crying as things were unfolding over the televisions at Starbucks, and I looked around me and I seen these people coming together, I realized that what a wonderful country the US was, and how dare these people, try and disrupt our way of life. And it was at that point in time I said, hey, I'm going to build a product that helps secure our national interests, our critical infrastructure, and had no intention of going back to Scotland. I wanted to stay here and build products and build solutions to secure our nation. So that was really the catalyst for me to kind of double down on what I was thinking about building from a personal interest standpoint.
So take me back to your younger years growing up. What were the seeds that were planted that allowed you to have this vision of being a leader, of securing people, of writing best-selling books? What were the things that were imbued in you that became who you are today?
Well, to be honest with you, I've always been, very frugal, kind of with my money. I've never been a big fan of, debt. I've never been a big fan of asking for money. I've never been one for, looking for help. I've always been a person that's self-sufficient. And what that translates to in business is that I obviously built a couple of key principles around what's made me successful at Log and so forth, Log Technologies, is that and I think it's helped me by being that way in terms of frugal and being able to manage my money and not ask for money. It's put me in a great position whereby I don't have debts, so I guess if I in reflection on what's made me pretty successful is that when you don't ask for money and you just kind of double down on the grind on and you double down on trying to figure out how to make things work, how to sell something, how to win a happy customer without the need to take on money and debt and things like that. um, it's actually proved to be a key, a key essential surviving guide, because when you're obviously setting up a company, you're wearing multiple hats, as you know, and and as the CEO, I still talk to customers today. I still, look at our product market fit, and I'm always making adjustments to align with the customer. But bootstrap CEO guideline number two, right, is you never lose sight of where the money's made. And I think I learned that at a very early stage. And of course, you never lose respect for cash, and therefore you always want to build your business based around the what you have at the time, right? And never extending the business or overextending the business with unnecessary debt until you've kind of found the product that's kind of selling, and you've found what's called product market fit, obviously ultimately. But that's a couple of kind of guiding principles that have helped me, that I kind of realized very early on, live within my means type of thing, and not overextend the business with debt.
So, who's been your hero? Who's been an inspirational force in your life to evolve to where you are today?
Okay. Being Scottish, of course, I have a lot of natural DNA in the blood. And of course, there's very historical, influential characters along the way that have just had the fight and the grit of kind of never give up. And I got to kind of go back to, William Wallace, right? The protector of Scotland. He took 2,000 Scots onto the battlefield at Bannockburn against 10,000 English, and of course prevailed. And it was because he had leadership skills that allowed his men to trust in his capabilities to lead them from tyranny and so forth. So there's a lot of history in the DNA, I would say. But in modern days, obviously there's a lot of influential characters that have been good for me. And at the end of the day, without getting into politics, I like folks that are fair to all people, and I think that being exposed to a lot of kind of influencers along the way. I like innovators that have done something pretty amazing, whether it be in the world of physics, whether it be in the world of just key innovations. So don't want to get into yeah, going down any particular path, but there's a lot of people that have influenced me along the way.
So let's get into let's get into your book. Talk to me a little bit about this best-selling book. Kind of what was the journey to wanting to write it, to actually doing it, and the success that it's had.
Right. Okay. So it definitely was a labor of love. I didn't realize how much was going to be involved when I started on the journey. I was obviously working a lot of hours at Lock. Um, I now understand when they say it's kind of lonely at the top, right? There's definitely been many, many hours on a weekly basis on just making sure the business is kind of humming along. But I actually, one of the key things for me is continuous learning. I'm a big fan of if you don't know something, learn it. And I had actually enrolled in a computer science class at Harvard um, at the time. And you would think, well, hey, he's running Lock, he's enrolled at Harvard. When does he have time to write a book? And it just so happens that I was inspired enough to um, go through the kind of key struggles that we had in the early days, the key struggles on trying to find product market fit, the continuous innovation and iteration to try and get this product to stick, and have happy customers and repeatable customers. I mean, we've done really well over the last 10 years. But the impetus for writing the book was the fact that I felt it was necessary to share, the fact that you can actually build a business without, burning through, millions of dollars of venture capital money. There are, shortcuts to building, like a CRM platform, marketing, program, product, program, and rise above the noise. And when there was actually, when I wrote the book, it was 600 odd pages, and I actually, worked with my editors and things like that to kind of prune it back to the kind of core areas. And of course, out of that came the kind of top 10 kind of bootstrap, guidelines, which is really the essence of how I run the business today. And so I wanted to kind of write the book because I felt it was just of interest on being able to really get to the kind of core essence of how do you find product market fit quickly? How do you find, problem market fit quickly? How do you find customers quickly and things like that? And you don't need to burn through millions of dollars to, find that. And the core of the book, the entrepreneur's journey from passion to profit, is that journey on being able to stay focused in on the core value, stay focused in on trying to find that product market fit, winning the vote of confidence in business very early on from some key tenants that allow you to then, build upon it. So customer feedback, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, the key principles that I outline are really how I run the business and how I'll run the next business. There'll be life after Lock, I'm pretty sure. And the next business, I've now got the blueprint for quickly ramping up the next business faster and quicker by looking at those kind of 10 guiding principles that I talk about in my book.
So, of everything that you've accomplished in your career and everything that you've overcome and done, what are you the proudest of? What are you the happiest about?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the fact that most of my employees have been with me for the entire journey. So most of them have been with me, 8, 9, 10 years, and they've been very, loyal and committed to the journey. So it's not just about, you know, um, being the William Wallace and leading the charge. It's about building a team around me that are also leading the charge in different areas. So I've been able to, you know, um, delegate responsibilities and have those people, really own their key areas of engineering and product and marketing and so forth. But I'm very, proud of the team because of, obviously stuck with the journey over the last 10 years. And we've struggled with product market fit, and we've continued together to iterate on, building a better product, changing our messaging, and we've just never given up. So what I've realized is that the core of any business is really that resiliency, that determination. And you've probably heard it 100 times, you should never give up on your dreams. You should never give up on what you believe in. That is true to a certain extent, but you've got to obviously be realistic as well, and you've got to work within your limits. But I'm most proud of the fact that I've got a loyal team that's stuck with me as I've been kind of, you know, you could say, waving the sword, killing my kind of lions, as they say, and pushing forward on a message, on a product, and building a product that's now deployed across critical infrastructure like nuclear facilities, healthcare, seaports, airports, governments around the world. So we're actually, through our resilience and through our team's focused commitment to the journey, we've been able to, become, a key component in their security arsenal for wireless, and that's been our probably one of the most satisfying accomplishments on this 10-year journey at LOCH.
So, Garry, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that works with you, that you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah, I think if you ask anybody that's that's known me over the last 30 years in Silicon Valley, they've said they've never seen such a hardworking CEO. Obviously that's probably top of mind. Everybody will say, they'll say, "Oh my God, hardworking kind of guy." Obviously, you need some smarts around you, and I think the ability. One of the things that I encourage all my employees to do is continuous learning, right? So even though I was busy with law, enrolled in Harvard, and things like that, I encourage all my employees to continuously learn. And so I think if someone was to say, "Hey, how could you summarize Garry Drummond?" They would say, "Hey, this is a hardworking guy that's continuously learning and adapting and evolving, and he obviously has high regard for his family and things like that. So just genuinely hardworking. I do believe, in the dream. I do think America is a phenomenal country. I still think it's the place. If you've got a good idea, if you work hard, you can prevail. You can be successful, and I think that's Garry Drummond. At the end of the day, I represent immigrants coming to this country with very little, having an idea and building upon it, and hard work, and building people around me that can help support that. So
Very well said. The entrepreneur's journey from passion to profit. The bootstrappedceo.com is where you can pick it up, and all the good work that you're doing. Garry, thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful, sir. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate your message.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. Our esteemed theme music was composed and produced by the great E.E. Pointer of Kansas City's River Cow Orchestra. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.